Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news.
This is Faith Under Fire. Each Thursday on Family Life, we give voice to religious battlegrounds in this nation. I'm your host, Tracy Lynn. Today we hear from Mike Berry, General Counsel with First Liberty Institute. The Navy SEALs are counted among the most elite fighting forces in the world. Dozens of those Navy SEALs are being threatened with punishment after requesting a religious accommodation to the COVID vaccine mandate. First Liberty attorney Mike Berry is representing SEAL members in a suit filed this week against the Biden administration and the Department of Defense.
As a veteran, I can say that when you raise your right hand and you swear the oath to support and defend the Constitution and you join the United States military, you certainly give up some of your freedoms, and we all recognize that, but you do not give up your religious freedom when you serve this country. And yet that is exactly what First Liberty Institute's clients are facing today, is the loss of their religious freedom, being forced to choose between their faith and serving this country. And our clients, these 40 U.S. Navy SEALs, collectively have more than 350 years of military service, more than 100 combat deployments. That's the type of experience and leadership and combat experience that's irreplaceable and incalculable. And yet they face the loss of their careers, being involuntarily separated. Their families have been punished by being told that they're not allowed to travel. Even spouses and children are not allowed to travel simply because they have a sincere religious objection to the vaccine. They face the loss of special pay due to their special operations status. And the Navy has now threatened these SEALs with recoupment of the training money spent training them to become Navy SEALs and giving them the specialized training that they have to do what they do.
First Liberty's Mike Berry speaking at a recent press conference.
This is a time in our nation's history when we face very real threats. Threats from China and North Korea, Iran, Russia. And we should expect that every one of our able-bodied Navy SEALs and other service members, we want them defending this nation, fighting for our freedom. And instead, they're fighting for their livelihoods and their careers. That's un-American and that's wrong. So First Liberty Institute, it really is one of our greatest honors to represent these warriors, these Navy SEALs.
Mike Berry explains what First Liberty is seeking from this suit.
All we're asking is that the Department of Defense honor the Constitution and the rule of law, honor its own regulations, and allow these Navy SEALs to continue to serve with a religious accommodation to avoid having to take this vaccine that violates their conscience and their sincerely held religious beliefs.
Senator Roger Marshall is one of several U.S. Congress members speaking up for the 40 active duty Navy SEALs. He breaks down what the punishments mean.
Think about the consequences of a dishonorable discharge. My dad started off his military career as a military policeman. He then became a police officer in my hometown, rose through the ranks, became chief of police. My dad told me as a young lad he would never hire a person with a dishonorable discharge from the military. So many of those military folks followed the same career path that my father did. The people that serve in the military make great police officers. But there's also some other issues what a dishonorable discharge would mean as well. You would lose your access to GI Bill for more education. You would lose access to VA home loans, your VA medical benefits, military funeral honors. I just can't tell you, every week, every month, we get requests to make sure that someone gets proper military funeral honors, how important that is to Americans. They cannot re-enlist in another branch. They will lose ownership of firearms or ammunitions. And in some states, they can lose their voting rights.
Senator Marshall says he recently asked a Navy SEAL officer why he doesn't want the vaccine.
And he went through a very deep spiritual context of his faith-based decision, prayer and thought. And that was his conclusion. I'm not saying that I would follow his logic perfectly, but I respect his faith and his ability to make that decision. And just like one size doesn't fit all, when a doctor sees a patient or treating a patient, I think the same applies to your religious freedoms as well.
The senator from Kansas adds,
this is a big issue. It's going to make our nation less secure. Probably over 50% of our enlisted soldiers in the National Guard, the Army Reserve, have not had the vaccine yet. So many, probably another, thousands of other people that are active duty have not had the vaccine yet. And these are based upon religious convictions.
All Air Force and Space members were required to be vaccinated by November 2nd under the defense order. Navy and Marine Corps members have until November 28th, and Army soldiers have until December 15th. First Liberty attorney Mike Berry says he was thrilled to be a part of that recent press conference with senators supporting members of the military seeking a religious exemption.
When you're representing your brothers and sisters who serve in the military and you know what they're up against, it's easy for it to become a very personal thing. And so when you see members of Congress stepping forward and saying, we want to stand alongside you, we want to come alongside First Liberty Institute and defend religious liberty in the military, it really continues to give me hope for the future of our nation and the future of religious liberty.
That's Mike Berry with First Liberty. I'm Tracy Lynn, Family Life News.